Hi everyone, this is Caly with craftingcaly.wordpress.com. So I have a little treat for you today. I made a spinner card. I've seen a few lately and it has really caught my attention and I really wanted to make one. So I decided to go with the Christmas theme again. I'm using this Peaceful Pines Stampin' Up set. It comes with coordinating dies. Oops. And so I'm going to be using this middle size die here because I want to use a certain stamp in the stamp set. And I'm going to be using my cutout for the circle portion where it spins using this circle stitch die by Simon Says Stamp. So I'm just going to pull out my stamps here that I want to use, and I'm going to pull out this other one as well with ornaments or light strings on it. And I wanted to show you, if you don't have this Peaceful Pine set from this holiday catalog, if you have the Festival of Trees stamp set from last year, you can also use that stamp set as well. The punch is just a tiny bit smaller than the current die, so you can definitely do it with whatever you have. Just make sure that when you do a spinner card, you want something that is symmetrical for both sides for the spinner. So I have my Recollections card base there in 110 pounds, and then I have this Neenah Solar White card panel that I'm going to use for the layer piece. And I'm using some removable adhesive. I just want this to stay in place while I cut out that center circle using that Simon Says Stamp stitch die. I just want that to be in the right place so I don't have to worry about trimming it or making it perfect at the end. I know that in my previous videos I've made that mistake before, so you can see here that that removable adhesive really just rubs away, so that's really nice. And I got that at Michael's, but I think you can get it at any local craft store. Now I'm just going to cover this entire layer piece here with some color. This first color is a lighter blue. It's Mermaid Lagoon. These are all distress inks. So I'm just blending on my craft mat and blending out from there. And this is Blueprint Sketch. It's a darker, brighter blue. And then I finally finish it off with chipped sapphire to give it a darker, bolder color. And then I'm going to go back in with the Mermaid Lagoon just to give it a little bit more saturation on the outer borders there. And when I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and clean my surface area there. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands as well so I don't get any ink anywhere that I don't want. And here I'm using my little my little mini mister, and I'm just adding droplets of water. And I don't let it stay very long. You can see it reacting with that ink very quickly. So I'm just going to pick up some of that extra water with my wipe there, and I'll clean my surface again. I'm going to use my Misty tool here to stamp 2 Christmas trees using that stamp that I had picked out earlier. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Up Wild Wasabi green ink, and I'm going to stamp each image twice just to make sure the color is well saturated. And when I'm done doing that, I'm going to use my chocolate chip Stampin' Up marker to kind of bolden up the branches in this stamp. And again, I'm going to do this twice. And then when I'm done doing that, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to flip my card base over the piece of paper here that I'm using. I'm just going to do it again. So I'm going to repeat the entire process, and then when I'm done doing that, I'll add that very last layer of strings. And I don't want the strings to show up, so all I do is I'm going to use a red Stampin' Up marker, and I'm just going to color in the bulbs just to make it kind of look like ornaments, I guess. And I really could have drawn this on by hand, and this was a tedious process because I had to do each image twice just to make sure that the red showed up well. But again, you know, you want it to look symmetrical on both sides, so this was how I decided to do it. Now I'm using some transparent thread. I got this at my local Joann store, so you don't have to get clear thread. You can use white thread, you can use gold. Christina Warner did one with reindeers the other day, and she used embroidery thread. So it was red and it looked just fine. So use whatever you have on hand. And so I'm using some multi-medium matte glue to adhere this together, and making sure the string goes right down the center of these trees. And there you see the spinner portion of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down using some fast fuse, but before I do that, I'm going to use my ruler to mark the center at 2 inches, since my layer piece there is 4 inches. And once I do that, I can ensure that I lay the spinner portion down directly at the center. I'm going to use some fast fuse this time. It's a really strong adhesive, and just to make sure that string does not move. I'm going to center that, and then I was going to cut off the excess thread there, but I decided to go ahead and just wind it around that adhesive just to make sure that the thread doesn't get cut short. So once I do that, I'm going to set this panel aside and kind of work on the base of the card. I decided that I wanted some yellow color in the back of this when the card closes. So I'm going to use some Distress ink in Wild Honey, and I'm going to add a blob of yellow there in the center. So it's a little bit harder to add ink from the center of the card going out versus working off the cardstock and moving inward, but just make sure you use a light hand and it'll be fine. I am adding fast fuse to this entire front panel here, and that will help me secure this piece down to my card base. And making sure to carefully line up that circle. I'm not so much worried about the white space around the card right now. I just want that center to be perfect. So once I'm done doing that, I decided to go ahead and add a sentiment behind this tree. So I'm using my MISTI here to make sure that when the card closes, you won't be able to see the sentiment because that tree is there. So the MISTI is really nice for this. And I'm going to stamp this twice. It says "'Tis the Season." And once that's done, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and add a sentiment as well to the outside of the card. And here I just wanted to show you how to activate that spinner portion. You just spin it and then close it, and then when the recipient opens the card, they'll be able to see it spin in action. I'm going to use some Versamark to stamp my sentiment on the outside of the card because I want to emboss this in white. And once that's done being embossed, I'm going to heat activate that, and then that will be the end of my card. I hope you all like that. It was a bit out of the box for me, but I really enjoyed doing it. All the supplies and materials will be listed below as well as on my blog. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great night. Bye-bye.